What's up, my fellow scruffy looking nerf herders, and welcome to the Carbonite Chat. Yes, you did read that title right. Rey is not a Mary Sue. The novels have answered it. So all of you saying Rey is a Mary Sue, delete your videos, delete your comments. She is no longer a Mary Sue. It's been answered. Thank you, Jason Fry, and thank you, Ryan Johnson. It's brilliant. It's utterly perfect. I mean, it's beautiful. It really is. It's so well done. It's so perfectly made. And if you haven't picked up the sarcasm so far, you probably think I was correct in what I said. This is stupid. It's so stupid. It's chapter 13 in the novel. And yeah, this is exactly how they would have considered doing this. It's just, oh man. I had heard this rumor and it sounded stupid, but it's actually even dumber in the novel. So it doesn't even make sense still continuing to go forward, but we'll cover that. So first, it's day 5 on Octu, and Rey wakes up. When Rey wakes up, this is the first time they have their Force bond, her and Kylo. Now, there's nothing really interestingly different from the movie and the novel, but as it ends, she begins to see Luke, and Luke is, asking her what happened with the blaster. And in her mind, she doesn't tell Kylo. I didn't really even consider the fact of, why is she hiding this from Luke at the beginning? But even, I guess you could say a plot hole, an issue, why she wouldn't say, hey, by the way, great Master Jedi that I'm trying to learn information from and is beginning to teach me the ways of the Force, this big, awful, horrible, terrible person that you trained before, that I'm telling you is the one that failed you, but I won't fail you, but I'm going to keep this information from you because I'm a good student. And she didn't tell him because he was finally going to begin to train her. And so she thought that saying, hey, by the way, me and Kylo have been Force Skyping, probably would make Luke be like, don't want to work with you anymore. But, so there's that answer to that. I didn't really have that thought. I don't know if you did. There's your answer. And then, so they're beginning to walk, and she's starting to kind of question the Force bond and how it happens. It's worrying her, and she starts to think back to the connections that they had when he first kind of went into her mind on Starkiller Base. And she talks about how when he went into her mind, she was able to kind of be into his mind. And in that, this is where she became so powerful. And it explains everything. So she went in his mind. And inside of his mind, before she was able to see that, his fears that he would never be like Darth Vader, she saw in his mind how he uses the Force. And that's how she learned. She basically learned everything. It was an instinct that was natural to her to be into the mind and then pick up all his little Force. It's so stupid. My God, it's stupid. It's really, it doesn't need commentary. It just needs me to present you with the facts they tell and say, here's their reason for why Rey's not a Mary Sue. And see, it happened before the mind trick. She clearly learned the mind trick from Kylo's mind and learned how to do it. So that's why she tried it. And then she just learned the information from Kylo, but now's more powerful than Kylo. Even though she's not even practiced those ways of the Force, she's still more powerful now. But that's how she learned it. So Rey's not a Mary Sue. She learned all of it. Kylo trained her by reading her mind. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Oh. So to all of you saying, we didn't get enough training in episode 8. Episode 8 was supposed to be about training. Why didn't we have, Rey and Luke working together, and then Snoke training Kylo, and we get this great little build-up of the characters, and we also get the build-up of the kind of mentor aspect to build up what's been going on with Luke and who is Snoke. Here's how we get the backstory as he's training Kylo, because it's impossible to come up with a way to do that. You can't come up with it. The Grand Emperor Ryan has said, author, creator of the most brilliant film ever made, Ryan Johnson said, there's no way that you could have put backstory into this movie. You just couldn't. It would seem out of place. Almost like a trip to a casino planet where you free a bunch of horse dogs for no reason because they'll be captured immediately after the fact. And who knows whether or not they could even survive in the wild. We don't know. But Rose probably does because she's a genius. Yeah, it's just so dumb. This is going to be a quick video because it's just this chapter. And it's really just this one point of Rey not being a Mary Sue. I've changed my opinion on everything now because Jason Fry figured it out. Thank you, sir. You're brilliant. To just follow up with that, to show the level of incompetence and it's just stupidity in this writing. Right after, this is of course right as she's about to go be trained for the first time. If you remember this training, I do because I despise it beyond all belief, is when he's trying to teach Rey to reach out. And first off, why does she have to learn to reach out? I wonder, wouldn't that be one of the key things that she learned while reading Kylo's mind? She's able to do all these other things, but she can't figure out how to reach out. Even though she reached out in The Force Awakens when she's being held up by Kylo and she remembers what Maz Kanata said. Interesting, she doesn't go, oh yeah, that thing in Kylo's mind. And yep, gotta focus on that thing in Kylo's mind. No, she remembers what Maz Kanata said. It almost seems like this is a retcon thrown in idea to fix really big issues that they couldn't even come up with how to fix in the movies because they're lazy and pathetic. It's almost like that. Almost. I wouldn't say that's the case. I would never say that. I would never claim such awful, horrible things about Rian Johnson and the story team at Lucasfilm. Wouldn't do it. Would never consider such an awful, awful suggestion. But anyways, so she's reaching out in the Force that she doesn't know how to do. So she does a little stupid. I mean, that scene pisses me off so bad. It shows the utter lack of disrespect, the childish humor of Rian Johnson. And then, you know, she's being tickled. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. I'm a strong, powerful female woman. Look at me giggle. So that happens, and then he slaps her hand. And then in the book it says she's hoping that her face doesn't turn red because she's embarrassed. She's embarrassed. Oh, it's so cute. It's stupid. It's just and then she puts her hand to her heart and he goes, oh, reach out from here. How did you not learn that from Kylo? You just told us, like pages before, lines before, sentences, paragraphs before, just told us that you learned this information from Kylo. That's why you can do the Force stuff that you can do. That's why you could read the mind or mind trick the stormtrooper. It's why you were able to focus on the Force and beat Kylo Ren. It's how you got to be where you were. It's why you're able to know all these things. But you can't, you think you got to do this? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. And people want to argue that this is brilliant. That this movie is like this deeper, just, you know, that we're not going to put it together. That it's like Empire, that you're going to begin to unravel the many things that are coming from it. And that once we see episode 9, we'll see the more deeper meanings. It's not deep, guys. It's not. It's just pathetically low. It's the lowest common denominator of writing. It's so pathetically, cheaply, lazily done every step of the way. It just is. You can enjoy it. You can like it. Fine. But it's stupid. It's dumb. I like some dumb movies myself. In college, I used to watch the movie Never Back Down. I was into MMA. That movie's terrible. But I watched it all the time. I loved it. I would still love it. It's a stupid, terrible movie. It's fine. You can mock me for it. I enjoy it. It's funny. I get it. Okay, it wasn't great. those of you that like The Phantom Menace. I don't, because it drives me crazy for some of the stuff. But that's great. It's awesome. Here's the difference, is it wasn't lazily done. It didn't disrespect the lore, even though midichlorians is a bit of a stretch for me. But I'm getting off topic, way off topic. Man, it's so bad. It's mind-boggling to me that this was the decision that they chose to do. It would have probably been better to not explain it. Just leave it up. Pretend that there is no Mary Sue. That's what you've been doing. It's just sexist to say she's a Mary Sue. Because as Daisy Ridley brilliantly said, thank you, Daisy, you idiot. It's sexist because Mary is a female name, and that's sexist because you're just saying only a female can't do it. No, you idiot. And anyone else that thinks this is the case, Mary Sue is a female name because it's referring to this being done to a female character. There is a male term that would be used for male characters called Gary Stu. There you go. Think on that. Kind of, let that kind of spin around in your head a little bit before you try to say, oh, it's sexist to say she's Mary Sue. And people like John Campea being an absolute idiot trying to compare Luke to Rey. Just stop it. Stop it. I don't know. John Campea tries to act like he loves the original trilogy and I'm a fan, like I'm a really big fan, but then he goes and says stuff like, Star Wars needs to move past the old fans. And, oh, if you say Rey's a Mary Sue, then Luke's a Mary Sue too. I mean, look what he did. He destroyed the Death Star. I mean, all Rey did was fight off Kylo. Yeah, okay, let's look into that a little bit. Okay, is Luke a Gary Stu? Was he able to do things better than other characters when he had less training? Is he the one that flies around the Millennium Falcon? Is he the one that flies everywhere? No, he's not. Was he the one that solely helped the Princess Leia escape because Rey was able to escape completely all on her own? No, he had to have assistance as well. Was he the only one that was shooting down the TIE fighters as they were escaping? Was he doing it better than Han Solo was doing it? No. Now, he does say that he has some abilities in flying prior, and he does say that he is able to kill a womp rat. And then we also see in the movie another pilot without Force abilities, not using the Force, almost making the shot. Almost. Very, very close. So then Luke shows up, using the Force, is able to make the shot that the other person barely missed. The difference here is Rey, one, able to fly better than anyone else, able to know how to fix everything on the Millennium Falcon with absolutely no issue. Does it actually better than Han. Han struggles with it if you watch the original trilogy. It's constantly making little issues and mistakes. It's always a problem. But not for Rey. Not for Rey. Then she's able to fight off Kylo. Now here's where the big difference comes in. Luke is just firing a weapon. That's it. He isn't trying to hold off and fight Vader while doing it. There is no other Force entity that he is competing with. It is an inanimate object. Rey is competing with Kylo, who is a trained Force user, shown to be very powerful Force user. And yeah, he's injured, but he's shown before that he was doing quite well. And he's a Sith. And as he's punching himself in the side, a Sith would fuel themselves off of that hatred and anger and pain. It gives them more strength. It makes them stronger in the moment. So, yeah, a little bit, but the fact that she just demolishes him towards the end, yeah, he was winning at first, and she connected to the Force, but she should not be able to do those things. It's just an unravel of so many different things. Luke, as I said in a prior video, Vader's not standing guard. He's not outmaneuvering Vader. He's not outflying Vader. It's not a lightsaber duel with Vader. That happens years later after some training. Yes, there's canon novels that talk about his training. And then training with Yoda. And you say, oh, well, it's not that much. Okay, but what happens in that fight? He gets beat by Vader. Vader's taking it easy on him. He's trying to get him to go into the carbonite because he's trying to take him to the Emperor. He's trying to take him to the Emperor, and he's also trying to help get him to join with Vader so that maybe they can defeat the Emperor. He's not trying to kill him. Now, neither was Kylo. But does Luke win? No, Luke gets one strike, and Vader's like, nope, done. Chop the hand off. Join me. I'm your father. Join me or die. That's after years. Rey's had days. This is where she's amazing. She fits every little point perfectly. She doesn't have these struggles or issues. Luke wasn't a perfect character. He was a whiny, complaining little brat. He cared too much about people. He wouldn't listen to those older than him. He would run into trouble and make mistakes. Rey doesn't make mistakes. Even in the novel, it talks about the fact that she's willing to run off and not listen is a positive thing, which I'm kind of fine with that, because I think that is the positive thing that Luke should have taken, not the Jedi Order ending, but that actually they just need to fix some of these issues with the Jedi Order. As earlier I mentioned in one of the earlier chapters of this novel, it talks about Luke before becoming a coward, because Rian Johnson wrote him, that he said that not having attachments is dumb. That it was actually attachments that brought Vader back to the light, just as much as it was attachments that took him to the light. So I think what they should have done is simply had Luke say, hey, that feeling you have, because the lesson that he teaches her, and this is coming up in the next chapter, so it'll be in the video tomorrow that I'll go into further detail, but she goes to run to try to rescue some of the caretakers. And Luke says the Jedi novels say you shouldn't do that. They say you shouldn't help. But she runs and does it anyway. So she acts just like Luke. But she doesn't never really have to pay for it. Luke had to pay for it. His friend was locked up in carbonite. He lost a hand. He had to pay a price. He struggled. Rey doesn't. And that's the issue. And the comparing it to Luke is not even reasonable. Why do all the people that want to defend The Last Jedi, can't they just defend it? Why do they have to go and try to break down the original trilogy? It's like, we can't really defend it because there's issues, but maybe if we can try to pick holes in a movie that's been out for 40 years, it can make us feel better about ourselves. What? I mean, it's just sad at this point. It's absolutely sad. And it doesn't even hold up when you attempt it. It's when we jump a few years to episode 9, then Rey would be comparable to Luke in Empire. When he gets whooped, is Rey going to get whooped at the end of episode 9? I don't think so. I think it's a safe bet. If she did, it wouldn't even make sense. That's the thing. When you write in a Mary Sue, you're screwed from the end, from the very beginning. From the very beginning, it can't be fixed because you've created this character that's too perfect, that can accomplishes all these tasks without training. So now if she gets training, she's unbeatable. It's it fails to work out. And this is the issue. And this is the problem, and they tried to fix it with this stupid idea, and it just makes it worse. It just makes it worse. Anyways, that's chapter 13 of the Last Jedi novel, and Rey not being a Mary Sue. I look forward to hearing all of your thoughts down below. I'm sure quite a few people are going to argue and say that no, she is not a Mary Sue. And clearly you can see from the title, I'm agreeing with you. Oh, man. Anyways, I look forward to the interesting conversations that will happen down in the comments. As always, I'll have a link to the playlist of the rest of the Last Jedi chapters that I've done so far. I'll be going over one every single day until I'm finally done with it and I don't have to look at it anymore for a very long time. Because this is miserable. This is miserable. So yeah, I'm ready for it to be done with and get on to something better. Some good storytelling for a change would be absolutely incredible. But I also have a link to my TeePublic page down below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. And never forget, you Nerf herders, I love you.